What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another Bitcoin analysis and trending Thursday new segment here on the channel, where we will be looking at the top 3 trending tokens of the moment. So you might be asking yourself, where do I find those tokens and how do I know which tokens are trending right now? Very easy, guys. Just go over to the crypto loop on bitcoineasy.io and there you can find everything as far as news and analytics go. And here you go to market overview. Will take you down to this section, and the first thing you see is the crypto bubbles, and there we can see them. Pengu up 22.4% for the day. EOS, an old but not so popular token, also up 16.8% on the day, and virtual here also up 13% on the day. We're gonna look at these 3 today alongside Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin is pumping massively this morning. We just reached almost 100k, and therefore we are in the key target area that we've been talking about yesterday as well, and in the previous days, that if we get a break above the previous high, that we can expect to move towards 100 and 102k. And everything is pointing in the direction right now that this bull market is unstoppable, that Bitcoin is continuing upwards, and that we're taking out the current all-time highs. Of course, there's still a lot of work to be done, and we're going to look at the weekly chart as well. There's still a trend line that we want to break above here that looks a bit scary and a lot like what we've seen last year between March and autumn. And yeah, if we can close above there on the weekly, then really there's nothing in our way apart from the previous all-time highs that then of course become a likely target here in this current rally. So guys, without any further ado, let's dive into the charts. And of course, quick reminder here, go over to X as well, Patas Crypto over there. This is where you can follow me to get the fastest updates all around the clock. The easiest way to stay up to date with my analysis. And I also updated you guys over there this morning here with the schedule. As you know, I've been on a schedule for the past 2 weeks. It's been pretty hectic and pretty hard to keep up with it, to be honest. So I made a few adjustments here just to make sure that I can be consistent with it. And not only did I change the times, now we have a consistent time for every day, including the weekend, 1 p.m. Central European time. Also on Thursdays now I decided to do this segment that we're doing right now, Trendy Thursday, followed by, here's a mistake actually guys, 1 p.m. on Fridays we do altcoins, and then 1 p.m. on Saturdays we do Trading 101. The actual content here is correct, but the title I have to adjust, so apologies for that. But just so you know, tomorrow we will be looking at Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, ETH, and SUI. So yeah guys, let's go into the charts, kick things off on Bitcoin, and then go into these trending altcoins for today. Right guys, so we start off on the weekly chart, although the weekly close of course is still almost 4 days away, but we want to look at this key trend line here. This is of course a key resistance level right now that we want to see Bitcoin close above here on a weekly closing basis. So you see this here, right? This trend line connecting the tops here where we came to our 108k top and then our 109k top. So this key area up here, this becomes very, very strong resistance on the way up again here in alignment with the 78.6 and a potential target here for this rally. The key thing is that we want to stay above this gray box right here, right? You can see we have a diagonal trend line here. We also then close back above the 61.8. This is of course the retracement from this entire downtrend here, from this correction. And then we want to make sure that we don't turn this into a third touch point here from a closing basis on this trend line. And then we would start looking a lot like here last year, where we ended up coming down here. Looked like we found our bottom, rallied back up, then got rejected there, and so on, and then continued upwards, and then eventually came out of this range here sometime in November last year. So if we don't want to prolong this correction here and this consolidation phase at the current top here for Bitcoin, then we want to make sure that we stay above all of this here, previous key area of interest, diagonal trend line, and also the 61.8 on the Fibonacci retracement. Ideally, we want to have a closing price here somewhere in the range where we are right now, between 100k and 99k, so we can really make sure that we're above the trend line as well. And then of course our next target here, the 102k area, where we also find the 78.6. Right guys, I get back into this chart of course on the weekend when it becomes relevant, when we will see the weekly close. And for now, let's go straight down into the daily chart. Here we have it guys, and we can see we reached here our previous high from the range in February. That was the key range where we said if we lose it, then that it becomes likely that we're going down towards 74 and 72k. And that of course now a key resistance level here. Once again, we see many touch points here leading back all the way to November 2024, and then many times here when we came out of this 90k to 91k range down here, then we rallied up there and found rejection there. This is a key area of interest here. If we start closing above here, right above 100, right above 99,500, then of course we have basically nothing in our way till we get up here in the area of 102k. So this is what we've been talking about here yesterday as well, and in the previous days, that if we take out this previous high here on a closing basis, which of course we did here, then there's probability that we continue upwards towards 100 and 102k, and that of course these targets come from these two key areas of interest here. To the downside now, of course, the previous high here turns into a strong support level. So the interesting thing here for the bulls today is whether we can close above 99,500 here, and then that would give us a clear signal that the trend is continuing upwards here to 102,000, right? And then from a Fibonacci retracement perspective, the only retracement that's left here really, if we take this downtrend, is the one that we saw on the weekly chart, where we retraced this entire downtrend here. So from that perspective, also nothing in our way here until this key area of 102k and above there. It's basically nothing in our way towards new all-time highs. Then on the smaller time frames, of course, guys, we can see here that we've been forming this uptrend here, connecting the tops here in this area between 95,000 and the current top here, and we can see that on a closing basis, Bitcoin is now attempting a breakout here. So this, from this perspective as well, very key level here, right around 99,500. We want to see closes above there. Then we potentially have a very sharp move towards 102k, and then followed by a move towards 106k. So yeah, guys, and obviously we identified this quite early here, this big rally. Down here we saw that we had a golden cross on the 4-hourly chart, and there was a signal with a hit rate of 100% here throughout the bull market so far. This time didn't fail either. And then recently we've been observing here the level of 93,800, where we said that if we can confirm it as support and reclaim 95k, that then the probability is back in the court of the bulls, and that we can expect a continuation to the upside of the trend here. And that, of course, is exactly what happened. We found our support here. We see we didn't breach the low here on a closing basis. We continued here. We didn't break the structure, continued sideways here. And then eventually here, we were running the risk yesterday of printing a lower high here. That then, of course, was invalidated by this nice bullish engulfing candle here. And that was followed up here by this massive candle that took us here to right around 100k now. So of course, from a psychological perspective, that is a very strong target that we reached now. So it remains to be seen if we get a bit of a pullback of the area, or if we continue straight up towards 102k, and the levels are very clear. We observed everything on the daily chart before and then on the weekly chart. And then from a closing perspective, there's one more chart that's closing today simultaneously with the daily chart. That's the 2-day chart here. And there we can see that we're clearly sitting above everything here. And therefore, if we close in this area, then there's very strong potential also from this perspective that we're continuing upwards here towards 102k. Tomorrow we get the close here on the 3-day chart as well. Some really interesting levels there to observe as well. And we'll get into all of that. And then of course on the weekend, we have our keen eye on the weekly chart to observe whether we can break the trend there as well. Right, guys, now let's go look at some trending tokens, the ones we mentioned earlier here that we saw in the crypto loop. And once again, guys, if you want to catch these kind of things, make sure to go over here. Not only can you find trending tokens and get a full market overview down here, where you see we have the crypto bubbles, then very relevant charts here, not only for Bitcoin, but for the crypto market, and also US stock markets and US dollar index, then the fear and greed index, then you have full performance monitor of the crypto market, followed by Bitcoin indicators based on oscillators and moving averages, and then a charting tool fully integrated by TradingView. If you find anything interesting up there, you can just chart it right down here. You can also take that into full screen and take screenshots up here for future reference or to share on social media. And at the very top of everything, you got the news sections where we got Crypto X news from our favorite news sources, where you can catch the headlines before the actual articles come out, and a selection of crypto traders on X as well, where you can find different charts down here. And then at the very top, we have the crypto news and financial news that's constantly updated. So yeah, guys, make sure to check it out. And this is how you stay in the loop, the easiest way to stay up to date with everything in the crypto market without all the noise that you get on social media here. Right, guys, and then of course, to stay up to date with my personal analysis, quick reminder here as well, make sure to follow me on X, Patos Crypto over there. Now guys, let's go into these charts, starting off with Pengu here. I'm not going into any very large time frames here. These you can see on the daily chart. This only tracks back to February this year. Moving averages are completely irrelevant on these time frames. But what we can see here is that Pengu just printed a new all-time high here actually. We've broken the previous low, and if we stay above here, above 0012, then we can basically expect that this trend continues upwards here, and we can expect new all-time highs here. Everything is looking extremely bullish above this key level here, and then here the line in the sand here for this trend basically to continue here, confirming this higher low structure and this massive uptrend here. We want to stay very, very clearly about the 1 cent region here. Anything below there then would take us back down here towards this key area of interest of 007, and then of course we find alignment here also with the 50-day SMA. But as I said, that is very insignificant still. And as the market looks very bullish right now, the probability is here that we see some continuation here. Short term, always a potential here for a pullback. And then, like I said, it becomes really interesting in this area here, 0.012. This is the key level that needs to hold here to confirm another higher low here as well. Right, guys, and then over to virtual, another chart that is going crazy today, which is up about 13% right now. There we see that it reclaimed a key area of interest here, and also the 200-day SMA in this area here, confirmed it as support. And now, of course, the next thing here is we want to break into the Fibonacci retracement of this entire downtrend here. Let's see, we're just getting above the 23.6 level. If we break there, then of course we need to break the prior highs here from a price action perspective to also confirm this higher low here. And then the next target here is somewhere in this range above $2.30 to $2.50, and closes above there, then give us strong indication here that this trend here is continuing upwards towards new all-time highs for virtual as well. And then EOS, one that we've been looking at in the past, but nothing really bullish, nothing really that I'm interested in personally. But of course, it's performing massively today, up about 15 to 16% on the day. And here we can see on the weekly chart that this is extremely bearish. We've basically been printing lower highs since the all-time high here in May 2018. 21 also couldn't beat that all-time high, and been printing lower lows and lower highs ever since. So therefore, of course, if we see a break in that structure and we can see a higher high here, and that specifically would come here in this key area between $1.22 to $1.32. If we see a weekly close above $1.32, we can see a massive breakout here, not only on a diagonal perspective, but also here on a horizontal perspective. Then we can expect a massive rally here, and even as high as $14, right? The all-time high here still lays at $88, so we had a fraction. We're not even at $1 right now, so there's huge upside here if we can get a trend reversal for EOS. But of course, the momentum remains to the downside until this key area here gets broken on a weekly closing basis at least. I would completely stay out of this. Of course, you can target this area up here for some short-term stuff, but before this level here gets flipped, then this is extremely bearish, this chart. Of course, not financial advice, guys, purely for educational purpose, everything here, and hopefully you get some entertainment out of it as well. And that brings me to the end of the video as well, keeping it short and simple here. I hope you enjoyed the new format here, looking at some trending tokens. As I said, that's the thing for Thursdays now, Trending Thursday. I'll be picking out the top 3 performing tokens of the day, whether it's underperforming or overperforming depending on the market situation, right? And then we look at them in combination with Bitcoin as well. Now guys, if you're new to the channel, a warm welcome. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. If you did, then consider subscribing and also hitting the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload new videos here. And while you're down there, might as well drop me a comment as well. Let me know what else you want to see here. Potentially you have some suggestions for Trending Thursday, something that's trending for you or something that you're interested in. I'm always open to new ideas. And yeah, guys, also make sure to follow over on X. That's how you stay up to date with my analysis around the clock. And you get all the updates as far as the schedule goes and whatever I'm posting. And yeah, guys, that's it for me. I'm out of here. And as always, happy trading and see you soon.